Welcome to Holtonsfixit101. Today we are going to show you how to set the height of your bit in your router table. Welcome back. Now, setting the bit height in your router table is not a hard thing to go and do. There are various apparatus or gauges that you want to use and everything else to set in the bit height on your table. It's very easy to go and do. I have two examples of them here. This one is a digital readout, and I'll bring it up so you can see it. There's a digital readout just there, as you can see, and that's very easy to use. You just put it on the surface and it gauges your height of your router bit. There's another one here. This is I think it's a trend one. There's an old one that I used to use. I use it quite a lot, to be honest with you. It's a manual one. It's just set and go. So it's very easy, but there's two examples of gauges that you can use. Setting the height is not rocket science on doing this. It's not like when I was showing you how to set the height of your, or depth as the case may be, of your plunge router. And I do have a link. I'll put a link in the description down below for that for that video. Is the previous video that I've just done, but let's get to it and I will show you how I set my router table up. Right, welcome back. As you can see here, we're here at my router table, and you can see that from what I have here, I'm in this very lucky situation where I have this winding mechanism for winding up my router bits. Now, not everyone has this mechanism. I do have my other smaller router table, which is a portable router table, and I'll also show you on how I set the height on that as well. But this is very, very simple. You can either use like the gauges like I've shown you here. It gives you the height of what you've got. There's the readout there. You can obviously see it. It tells you what the height is. You can wind this up at the same time as you can actually see the height coming up on the gauge, or you can set the gauge on this manual one. You can set it to whatever you want, and there's the scale just there, and you can set that to whatever you want. Bring that across and you can put that in there until it just about touches the height of the cutter. Now, I set up a router cutter in here already. This is an 18mm cutter. A lot of the multi sets that you get that you can buy they have a 19mm cutter. Now, we all know that if we're cutting a groove for what they call an 18mm sheet of plywood or whatever, we know it's never ever 18mm, or it's never exact. So, but I've gone to my friends at Welding Cutters, and there it is. And this is an 18mm cutter. Now, this is what this cutter I've actually found is the closest I can get to the size of some cabinet making plywood that I can buy. So this one is very, very good. It's a little bit expensive for what it is because it is a special size of 18mm, but what a cutter it is. It's actually a plunge bit as well. But enough about the bit. Let's get on with the setting of the height. Now, you can either put this on there, and you can bring this up, and you can actually bring it up to whatever size you want to bring it up to. Now, if by chance you want to use this, you can set this to the height. Say like I want to set it to 10 mil. I can bring this up, I hold it over the top of there until the router bit actually touches the tape measure of here. Now they're bringing that up, and we just move it slightly like that across a little bit, so you can actually feel the router bit actually just touching the tips of the actual tape itself, or the measuring stick itself. So as soon as that touches that, you know that you've got that at say like the measurement that I set it at, and this particular one is say 10 mil. So I know that that is 10 mil above the surface of the table. Right, now if you're doing a groove in some plywood and you're joining two bits of plywood together in that sort of fashion, another easy way of actually doing it is very easy. I'll wind this back down here, is to get yourself a piece of 9mm ply. That's what this is the easiest way I found. This is a piece of 9mm ply, not quite 9mm, I think it's about 8.5 or something like that, but it's close enough for what we want to do for doing a groove. And what I do is I put that right up to the bit like that, and I put just a sacrificial piece. This just happens to be a bit of 18mm ply that I've had, a scrap piece, and I'll stick that over the top of the actual router cutter itself. You can see the router cutter is just there underneath it. So it's underneath the router cutter, and what I'll do is I'll bring this up like that until it just touches that piece of wood like that. You just about hear it there, and it's just touching that the 18 that's on the top. So we know that router bit now is actually set to the same height as this piece of ply. And that's another very easy way of doing it. So anyone wants to set their router table up for doing a groove that's halfway between these into this piece of ply, very easy way of doing it. You don't have to do no measuring or anything like that. And we all know that when we're doing woodworking or anything like that, the less measuring you do, the more accurate that your stuff will become, because there's more error made with measuring. So we all know that. Like I said, I'm very fortunate where I've got this winding mechanism. It winds it up and everything else. But I will actually show you on my other smaller router table, my portable router table, how I actually set up the router bit in that as well. Here we are at the portable router table. Now again, there's no rocket science to actually setting up the router bit, whether I'm using my big router table with the winding mechanism or I'm using this portable router table that I have, which doesn't have the winding mechanism. Now I've obviously got this one because it is portable. I'll be able to take it to wherever I'm going, and I can use a router table to do whatever I want to do. So I can't, because I can't take my big one. It's fixed in the shop here, and unfortunately it's too big to move around. But the theory is exactly the same. You can use this or you can use this one here. Just the theory is just the same. I have a bit set up in here, and as you can see, it will come out of that hole there, and you just push it up and let it back down again. There it is there, look. It's not the 18mm that I've just using over there, but the theory is just the same. Obviously I have this set up from when I was over the other side there at 10mm. So what I do is I'll put that over the top there again like that. Okay, and I'll bring my router bit up until it just touches that. It just touches there. Okay, So the theory is still the same. I'm working with, whether I'm working with this one or that one. Now people say to me, oh, you've got a plunge router in the bottom of your router table. Yes, I have, but the difference is between this and a normal plunge router is I've actually taken out the springs in the router itself, so it will actually slide up and down with no problem whatsoever. The only thing that's been retained is the actual lever on the back that allows you to plunge the router down and keep it in position. That's the only thing that has been retained on this router. And obviously the switch has been molded together, so it will permanently stay on because I have an NVR switch on the side of the router over here. Let me just pull that round and you'll be able to see it. It's just there. There's an NVR switch on the side. No volt releases, by the way. So the theory is exactly the same, of showing you of how this all works. It's not rocket science on how we got to set the router height on the router table. It's so easy, and there's no reason why people should get it all wrong. Exactly the same as I'll go and get them. It's the 2 bits of wood, just the same. If you want to set the height, just put that over the top like that, and soon as you see that wood moving, you know that you've got it somewhere in the right height. There it is. So it's at the right height. So it's not rocket science to actually set this, and there's no reason why people should get it all wrong. Well, here we are. Now, whether I be using the big router table with the winding mechanism, or whether I'm using the small router table with just manually pushing it up, the theory is all the same for setting the router bits on for the height, and it's all very easy to do. And if you use the 2 bits of wood method of having a piece of wood underneath and a bit of wood on the top, then there's no reason for you getting it wrong, because you just measure the thickness of your wood that you got on the bottom. You should get the router height right. Now please bear in mind that when you're using a router table, that don't be over silly with it and everything else by setting the height, full height of what your groove needs to be, or whatever you're doing, at full height straight away on the first cut. Always make a nice shallow cut and then do another cut afterwards. It's very, very foolish to try and go through at full height for the whole groove straight away. You're straining your router, and 2, you're going to be straining the router bit itself, and both of them will not last very long. Your bit will blunt very quickly, it heat up, it overheat in some cases, and the bearing in the router will wear out a lot quicker. So please just go for a nice shallow cut, and then go for your full height cut. Maybe 2, maybe even 3 stages of getting down to the full height of or depth of the groove that you want to have. Please do that, because you'll just strain your tools in the end. So there we go. Bit height set on your router table. Now, if you want to connect with me on the usual social channels, you know where they are. They're Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you can always email me as well. Please leave comments down below, and subscribe to the channel and use the bell icon, and you get notifications when I upload another video. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.